on 95.3 FM in Windhoek, Desert Radio. The Bold One
Mitch has announced his final one-man show. It's called The Last Straw, and it's to be staged in about 3 months' time. After that, he does say he will retire as a comedian. He also says he's been consistent for a decade, and all great things must come to an end. If you are streaming live on our Facebook platform, you will see that we do have him in studio this morning. Big Mitch, how's it?
How's it going, man? How are you doing?
Very well. How are you, man?
I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah? The Tuesday starting off great?
yeah.
I love it. Now listen, you say you are leaving the creative industry after 10 years of, doing what you do.
Yeah.
Talk to us about how you came to telling yourself that this is it.
It's like a lot of stuff, man. I've been reading this book, The Art of Decision Making. The book, The Art of Decision Making, and it's basically about how to make strategic decisions about your life. And it's not really leaving the creative industry. It's like comedy at this point has the market is very small, and the talent, the competitive, the talent to compete with is also small. So that also brings you to a point where people are not keen to invest in it, especially the corporates. The corporates would rather want to invest in music, anything to do with music. Yeah, like we are in the goof generation right now.
Yeah.
So corporates would rather invest in anything to do with music. The big festivals that they have. The biggest festival right now in Namibia is music. It's with music. It has something to do with music, but I don't think the corporates see what comedy has done for our country and across the world during Corona. People were stuck to their phones, and that's what kept us going. And I don't think they still see what comedy can do for Namibia. So you cannot help the industry while being in the industry, but you can go out of it and start pushing people towards the art that you like. So when the art is at a certain point, you can be like, okay, let's go now.
So sorry, Anna, so does that mean that if you do see some sort of resurgence of comedy to maybe greater levels, you will be going back?
Yeah. Basically, comedy is something that you can't really quit forever, man. Yeah, it's just like singular latter. That what I really want to do is get out, because I have a production company, Mitch Nation Inc. So what I want to do is get out there and infiltrate the corporate market and push them towards comedy. Because I can't do it while I am part of the art, like I am a performer. I can do it when I am like, I am an event organizer or something. I can organize comedy events and just push them towards the art so they can see the vision for the art in Namibia. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to really focus on my production company and pushing the corporates to the interest of comedy in the country. Yeah.
Then let's project perhaps, right? Let's say, okay, you take this hiatus, you do the work in terms of, trying to get corporates and people just more interested in the comedy industry.
Yeah.
10 years from now, ideally, what would you like to see? What should the industry look like?
I would like to see probably several comedy clubs. Yeah, but because right now we don't have a platform for comedy. The only platform we had for comedy is Free Your Mind that we had.
Yes.
And I started Le Comedy Club, and we don't have talent that is getting there to be for auditions. If you have nothing, it's like Superman and Batman. Or let me say, not Superman and Batman, but the Joker and Batman.
Okay.
The Joker gets bored when Batman is hurt, because he has nobody to compete with.
Yeah.
You see, so that's how I feel at this point. Like, I don't know. It's a very competitive industry. Like, comedy is very competitive. And if you have nobody to compete with, you are just with your old peers. There is no new talent. We've been putting out audition searches of, we need female comedians. Nobody's coming through. We need young comedians from where? Nobody's coming through. But these comedians could be in Enana. These comedians could be in Ogwendiva, but there is no platform there for them to showcase. There is no platform for comedians in Kietmans. So we are just here. We're like probably 4 or 5 big comedians in Windhoek, and all of us are stationed here. And every show you go to is us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm curious about, though, then, is what exactly is it, aside from the corporates, right, that our industry is lacking? Because when you said that, I thought of one Namibian comedian who's thriving in South Africa, Waylene Beekers, Waybelline, right?
Waybelline, yeah.
Yes. So she's Namibian,
Yeah.
and she went to South Africa, and she has made a full-fledged career out of her comedy.
Yeah.
What is the difference between the industry there and the industry here?
Okay, I know. Shout out to her. I know I've performed. I've shared a stage with her. She's a brilliant comedian. And the first thing is population.
Okay. Yes.
The first thing is South Africa is helped by population so much, you know. And like, we had South African comedians here before, and if you could see our level of comedy and their level of comedy, you'd be like, oh my Geertmans, oh my Geertmans. So it's like. The population is helping them a lot, and plus South Africa is like let me say 30% of their GDP comes from entertainment.
Yeah,
and everything to do with entertainment from America, like you know South Africans are like that. Everything, Comedy Central is there, Netflix is there, everything is there. So sorry. So for them, it's the platforms and the corporates invest in them. If DSTV probably wants an advert, DSTV South Africa. And you know, DSTV's headquarters is actually in Zambia. Is it Zimbabwe? I know it's Zambia actually.
In Zambia, yeah.
So if DSTV wants an advert, they will use their own people.
Yeah.
Their own comedians there to write that advert. You will see South Africans in that advert. If DSTV Namibia wants an advert, you will see South Africans. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
If Holland, Namibia wants an advert, you'll see South Africans. You see, so it's they believe in their people and the capacity of their people and the competency of their people of bringing the message across.
Yeah.
But our corporates are like, oh my Geertmans, let's get a South African. I think that would look better.
Big Mitch, I'm interested as well. Look, there's been this conversation as well, especially in the creative industry, that creatives themselves should perhaps also try to see what they can do from themselves, as opposed to relying, on corporates and other stakeholders, because that hasn't worked, right?
Yeah.
So, like you said, there's been Le Comedy Club, but there's been other platforms as well that the few comedians within the country have started, but has your capacity as comedians in the country been exhausted to the point that you can't do any much more, that you now definitely need desperately the help of corporates?
I will tell you honestly, what we do in Namibia at this point, Namibian comedians, it's magic. What we do is magic. I'll tell you, the 5 biggest comedians in Namibia actually just live off comedy. They don't have jobs, they don't have 8 to 5s, but they try to make it work every week. You'll see us performing every week, whether it's at Chicago's, whether it's at Brewers Market, the Comedy Club. We take out money out of our pockets and make shows, and also create platforms for other people. You see, that have jobs, that just want to try out comedy probably. But we take out money out of our pocket, so it's magic to us. It's magic that we are producing here. You would never see that in South Africa. In South Africa or in Nigeria, you would never see that. A comedian taking out money out of his pocket to do what? No, it will never happen. So it's the same as you telling your child, my son, why don't you also do something from yourself, so I can, as your father, see that you have exhausted whatever you do? It's a corporate responsibility to support arts. The arts in Namibia. It's a social responsibility. It's the government's social responsibility to support us in it, because if you see all the civilizations, let me say from way back, what they were thriving in was arts. People used to make money. People used to the art of combat. Like the people would be fighting, and they would be paid off there. You've watched these movies where you see those gladiators and all that. People were doing, and then people were singing. It was piano. It was all that. People were singing. That's how people were making. Arts has developed countries, and let's say what is Nigeria thriving from right now? Music. Comedy
and even film.
Hollywood,
South Africa. What is South Africa known from? What do you know about it? You see them in film like Sobeys and what? It's art. this even America, half of their GDP is from entertainment. So if you are, as a corporate or as a country, as a government, if you really invest in entertainment, in the entertainment industry, you are gonna cut a lot of costs. Like you can have like 50% from us and just put it into education and whatsoever. Because I think Namibia can really do well because of our population. We are very small right now, and if we start right now doing it, like investing in it right now already, you're gonna see more people. You see more people becoming artists and more people in school. You see, every day you see a new artist. Every day you see a new poet. Every day you see. So more people are realizing that I can actually become somebody and make money or have a living off being somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Mitch, you know what's interesting is that you have decided to get off the stage yourself so that you can try to create this thing for the industry that you want to see, right? To push the industry forward.
Yeah.
And you've been in the industry for 10 years, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure at least in that 10-year space of time, there must have been some evolution.
Yeah.
Has the industry changed in any positive way since you started?
It has changed so much. We have went from charging $10 at the door to charging $250, $150, and the level of comedy was also like we just evolved into comedy and how we want our people to what we want to sell to the Namibian nation. But here you have comedians that are really we can sell to the Namibian nation. No, we can sell to the Namibian nation. The problem is this: now you have to evolve to South Africa. You have to start writing South African material. Now you cannot just be here. I need competition. You cannot just be here, Namibian, and now you're booked in South Africa. You don't even know what to say to the South African because you can sell here in Namibia with the local jokes and everything. But I want to evolve comedy to the point where we can cross borders. I want a South African comedian or a comedian from Botswana to book me. Yeah, I've performed there before, which is cool. I want them to book me. I want, like we book South African comedians, and I want us to cross borders with the level of material. And also us to be able to make a living off comedy, just like artists can do it. Yeah, like musicians. DJs make a living of playing other people's music. And I'm like, oh my goodness, they getting paid this much?
Yeah. So then is that within your plans as well to perhaps provide mentorship to, cultivate the craft of comedy? Because at the end of the day, it is a craft, right?
Yeah, it's a craft.
I know that there are people that can just shoot from the head, but you do sit down, you write your material, you plan your show. So are there plans to provide mentorship in that capacity?
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I'm doing this. I need to nurture talent in Namibia. Like I know like 3 or 4 comedians that really, you can see they have the potential. But they just need a little bit of help, and also for them to push from themselves, like to start making shows and be in the people's eyes, to be in the media's eye, for the media to start writing. They just need that. Because last we even had a show, and we had a young comedian there. He did very well. There are people telling me like, "Oh, the guy that opened," but then they just get silent. They don't know the business side of comedy. See, so now you have to nurture in the art itself and also the business side of like, this is how you can start making a living. Okay, this is how you can charge per minute. When you are writing your craft, you charge per minute. So I want to do that. I want like even when I opened the comedy club, it is basically for young talent to get out there and just showcase their material. And then I see that and I'm like, okay, we can work. Let's work. Because comedy is just like music. We have our own genres. Like we have dark, we have blue, we have satire, and then we have like ventriloquist. We have what is it? Improv. So we can do a lot. People are doing improv. They don't know they're doing improv. So I'm like, we can do a lot, but there is nobody that is willing to step out and start pushing from outside.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm taking the step.
And then looking back, 10 years, your career, what would you say are or were one of the biggest achievements that you have managed to put on your resume?
I got a girlfriend from comedy. One of my biggest achievements. Yeah.
Wow. Who knew comedy could do that?
Who knew comedy could do
Come
that?
on.
I never knew ladies like funny guys. Yeah, I don't know. One of my biggest achievements is to be nominated by the Savannah Comic Choice Awards as Best Newcomer, and then as is it Saturday Comedian of the Year.
Okay.
So we were nominated alongside the greats, the Trevor Noahs, the Basket Mao. So that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was awesome for me, and winning Namibian Comedian of the Year, Simply You Comedian of the Year, Free Your Mind Last Comedian of the Year, Red Bull Comedian of the Year. So that was fantastic. Those years were very dope.
Yeah.
I love that because there was competition, and it was like, yo, I gotta write, I gotta step up, and you just saw new people every day because we had this Free Your Mind last comic standing.
Yeah.
So you had about 20 to 15 comedians trying out. And then we had auditions, and then you left like 12, and then you guys go head to head.
Yeah.
So it was awesome. It was like, it kept me on my toes. Like, yo, I had to write. But now, that's what we have now. But that was one of my greatest achievements. What I can say is I'm making a living of comedy right now. I'm doing pretty well, but it could be better. And I want to see other people do that too. So I have a market where I can compete with, where I can compete in. If you're a musician, and every year you're gonna win. Yeah, like you go to the numbers and you check how many artists have dropped albums, and you check it's just me, and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna get a number this year. Okay? Yeah. I'm taking a number home. It's that feeling, like if you're a musician, probably you're the best, but you want to listen. You have somebody you listen to,
Of course.
but you also want that somebody to be from Namibia.
Yeah.
You don't want that somebody to be from, you also want that one guy in Namibia that that you listen to, one girl, So
Speaking on that, I'm sorry to cut you. I'm interested. Who are your favorite Namibian comedians?
Who are my favorite Namibian comedians? Oh, so that's my mom's last born, which is me. And that's my brother's brother. That comes after the other brother, which is me. I'm kidding. So after those two guys, Slick is a brilliant comedian. Man.
Yeah.
Slick has been doing this for a long time, but if you put him on stage right now, he just has this thing where you can just bring people like you can just capture people's attention.
Yeah.
Crowd control. That's what we call it.
Yeah.
Slick is a brilliant comedian. I love Lloyd. Lloyd is something different also. Like Lloyd can easily impersonate people. He can do it easily. Yeah. For me, I have to still probably sit down and train myself for a week or two, but Lloyd can just hear you like this and he can start impersonating you. So Lloyd is that brilliant talent of him. Who else is there? Neville. Neville is he's a legend. I didn't even want to mention him. You see, that's the thing. The thing. Everybody would have sat down here and started with Neville. But I want somebody. You see, that's the thing. We should be that much that I'll be like, oh my goodness, who are my favorite five? Yeah, but Neville is also my favorite. So Neville, Lloyd, and then my mom's last born. Yeah.
And your brother's brother.
My brother's brother. Yeah.
And maybe this will put you on the spot, but to diversify that, if you had to pick 3 women comedians, and if you can't, then that's also something to discuss. Are there not enough women in comedy? Is there not enough room being created for women in comedy?
They're not enough for me to have a favorite.
Okay.
You see, and this is the thing, man. I'm probably gonna get slack for this, but I'm honest. But I've had problems, so I just have to tell the truth.
Get it off your chest.
I just have to get it off my chest. Look here, this is the problem. People always complain about there are not enough women comedians, but they say we put out ads, and the thing is just the interest of women lies probably more into some stuff. You know, like that's why you'll see into like if you're gonna look into therapy or whatsoever, a lot of women love that. You'll see a lot of women than men. You know, you won't find a lot of men therapists and what nurses. You know, their interest lies more with something else. But there are female comedians that I see on Facebook, on Insta, on what, but they don't just have that courage to stand in front of like people with a mic, you know, but they can do it with the phone. You know, they can do the TikTok things with the phone, or the Insta things with the phone. But when you tell them, I've inboxed them, like they'll even tell you after this show, you can probably check out one of them, just be like, oh, Mitch was probably lying.
Yeah.
I've inboxed them, I was like, yo, I have the women's show. We always have a women's show. So for the Women's Month, you know.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. The month that you forget, like we come was before you guys, then you forget about us and then women.
Yeah.
So we always have a Women's Month, so we have a women's comedy thing. And then we sit there with Zita and what's the other girl's name? Zita. Okay, you see, I even forgot that. Zita, I know Sibongile also does comedy. Then we sit there with Zita and her. And it's women's comedy.
Yeah.
And it's two. Then you just come there and you're like, oh, I'll just MC. Then you have a man in there. So it has already defeated the whole cause. So that's the thing. We need more female comedians. And even if you need help, yeah, call us up. You don't need to be ashamed of that. Just call us up. I think from all those guys, from Slick, Chicken to me, we could sit down. Like, that's why Free Your Mind is there. That's why Free Your Mind is there. Free Your Mind is there for people to be nurtured for what their talent, to be helped with their talent, whatever talent that you have, especially when it comes to comedy, because we major in comedy. So you have to be there. We have rehearsals that we have auditions that we have. So every day you could become better. That's how, like, I think my first show at Free Your Mind in 2010, I made a joke. And in my head, the joke was very funny.
It was hilarious.
And everybody was like, who is this guy? I'm like, oh my goodness. Can I leave? Can I leave?
Yeah.
Slick is like, you have 5 minutes left. Stand there and die. Oh, like, okay. And I went back and I thought that you need to have character that puts you aside from other people. I sat there 2 years studying the craft, and I came back and I did my one-man show, and it went very well.
Yeah.
So
it just took time.
It just took time.
Yeah.
I see we have a few minutes left.
Yeah.
So for the last few minutes, let's talk about The Last Straw. That's your final show.
Yeah.
Right? It will be staged in November.
Yeah.
What can we expect?
Oh my God, man. You know, when a man says it's the last straw, it's a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. So I'll start with this. Basically, why comedy is part of my life is like I'm one of the people that can practically say comedy saved my life. You know, the way I was heading and what I was dealing with as a kid. When I found comedy, I was like, thank you. Like, it was like God to me. I was like, yo, there is a God. You know, so I'm gonna be talking about everything that I have an opinion on, everything. So we're gonna go to the genders, we're gonna go to GBV, we're gonna go to my life as a person, my experience as a person, how I see life. We're gonna go to Namibia as a country, with the arts industry, music, and our influences. I'm gonna go very deep.
No holds
Gonna be
barred.
roasted.
We're gonna go. We're gonna go to all the roads, and we're gonna go to the Army Road, to the
my
Fish
word.
Road.
So hectic.
I think I might be jailed after that show, so you guys have to just come.
Well, you know what? I would expect nothing less.
Yeah.
Because if it's the last one for a while, you
Yeah.
have to go out with
With
a
a
bang.
I have to go out with a bang. That would be nice, and just getting arrested after the show. People like, oh,
I think it would be a good thing for the show.
it would be
Right?
For the show.
That would sell so
you're
much.
The show was so fire, he was arrested.
Oh gosh.
Oh my word. Well, Big Mitch, thank you so much for making time for us, man.
Yeah.
It's been entertaining having you in studio. And I think also quite important to discuss, the status of comedy, how we can move it forward, of course, as a country, and as comedians yourself, and what role you guys play in growing the industry and making sure that your contribution actually counts and is of value. Appreciate your time so much, man.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Go for it.
Just one. So what do you think is the state of comedy right now in Namibia from your point of view? Because I'm like in it, so I'm there struggling and fighting with it. But probably you just see us like, So what do you think?
Yeah,
is the state?
I mean, from where I'm sitting, right, I don't see as many shows as I used to when I was younger. That's first of all. And then when I do go to a show, usually the turnout isn't that good. And I've been trying to think about, like, as you said earlier, back in the day, the tickets were $10.
Yeah.
Now a ticket is $2.50. Are people not coming because it's expensive, or are people not coming because they don't care? I don't quite know what it is, but I have seen less shows, less diversity in the comedians, because same page as you, I can name very few women in comedy. I can name a few men, but even that, it's probably the same pool that you would name. There's not a lot of diversity.
Yeah.
So in that sense, a lot needs to be done there. And I think it's exciting that somebody wants to go out, foster the talent, pump into the industry, and then we'll see what happens 10 years from now.
Yeah.
I think she took the words out of my mouth, man. I definitely agree as well. My point is more on the diversity. Same with the both of you. I can also only name, a few comedians, right? But even when I do go see them, there seems to be, I haven't really seen the full flex of the genres that you mentioned. Do you understand what I'm saying? I haven't really seen it.
Basically.
I've seen very, very funny stuff, but very generic. Something that I can listen to when I'm having a conversation with somebody on the streets, right? But it would still get me cracking. But it would be nice to see a host of other genres like the ones that you've mentioned.
Getting like satire, like
do you know what I mean?
Blue comedy.
I would love, for instance, I don't know if you guys have seen Luis Ogola or Trevor Noah sort of Daily Show type thing happening on like a skit. Do you know what I'm saying?
Even if I don't know those comedians,
I like that. But you know what I'm saying? Like just as opposed to just standing up on the on a stage and just speaking, because like Olana said, sometimes the crowd interaction isn't really as great as you'd love it, so you have to sort of see what else you can do, and there are many other platforms that I think can be used for that.
And I just hope God is with me, and the plan works out as I've planned it out. And 10 years from now, you can call me an industry guru. You guys can pray to me, even in small prayers. But I just hope the plan works out, because I'm just not doing it for me. I'm opening doors for my son and my peers' sons and my peers' daughters. So I want it, like, when they start to do something like within the industry, it should be open for them. If our kids want to do that, so one is to sacrifice themselves.
Listen,
100%.
Big Mitch, you are, I think, doing the industry and the country a big favor. Although, look, it's a catch-22 of some sort. You're leaving, but you're also leaving for a good reason, right? We really do hope that it all works out for you. We will be keeping a close eye, and that seat that you're sitting on is booked for 10 years' time for you to come back.
That's what's up.
And give us a status update, but we do appreciate your time coming to studio this morning.
Thank you guys so much, man.